All right, the meeting, Commerce and Labor will come to order. Do the roll right now, okay? If you're here, vote. So where's the, here we go.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
I did. I thought I did. I hit yay. I'm not here. All right. We're going to hear first from two people. One's the incumbent judge on the State Corporation Commission, the other on the Workers' Comp Commission. We'll hear first from Angela Navarro. Is she here? Welcome, Judge Navarro.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Would you like me to remove my mask or keep it on?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I do have some brief remarks. So it has been an honor to serve as a commissioner on the State Corporation Commission. I've been fortunate to serve the Commonwealth in a variety of roles throughout my career. I truly believe that there is no higher honor than public service. I also understand the tremendous responsibilities of a commissioner on the State Corporation Commission, and I work very hard to carry forward the responsibilities in a manner that is both transparent and fair, always with consideration of the impact of our decisions on Virginia families. As you're well aware, the Commission's work is extensive. The General Assembly passes laws that prescribe the scope of the Commission's jurisdiction, and I will continue to work to ensure that I uphold the will of the legislature. By way of background, in addition to serving as a commissioner on the State Corporation Commission, I've worked with the commission in a number of roles throughout my career. I've participated as an attorney before the commission. I've also served in the executive branch, most recently as Deputy Secretary of Commerce and Trade, where I worked on economic development matters. I've greatly enjoyed my service as a commissioner. The issues are complex, but we have a very highly regarded staff that assists us in our work. And I've learned a great deal from this team, as well as from my colleagues, Judge Yagman and Judge Hudson. If reelected by the General Assembly, I look forward to continuing this important work. Thank you again for your time, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions of Judge Navarro? Okay. How long have you now been on the commission?
I've been on the commission for a year. I was elected last year to fill the unexpired term of former Commissioner Mark Christie.
Right, okay. All right. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we will hear from Robert F. Newman from the Workers' Comp Commission.
Good afternoon. I'm Farrell Newman. I am finishing my 39th year as a workers' compensation lawyer, 30 years in private practice, 9 years before the commission. I know y'all have got a busy schedule. I want you to know one thing about the Workers' Compensation Commission, which is that we have no backlog of cases. We've come through COVID, 15 months of working remotely, and we are on top of our business and working hard to serve the Commonwealth. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has, assuming the subject is workers' compensation.
Are there any questions? Senator Evan.
Yes, sir, I was just wondering what the status is, but you referenced COVID. Is there a backlog of cases because of COVID, or have you been able to, are people still getting pretty expedient results?
There's no backlog of COVID cases. We have not had a lot of COVID cases since the presumption.
I mean cases in general because of any difficulty in conducting hearings because of COVID.
No, you're asking the one question that I tried to make clear. We have no backlog.
Okay,
We have set up video hearings. There is no backlog.
Thank you for referencing that.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, Surville. I just had a quick question. It's good to see you. I didn't realize we were doing a workers' comp judge today. it's my understanding that, and I don't do workers' comp as part of my law practice, my understanding that there's I guess, an employer pick and an employee pick and some other, which one of those boxes do you fit in?
I'm the neutral commissioner.
Neutral one, okay.
I make everybody unhappy.
Got it, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to certify both of the nominees or the judges.
All right. All those in favor of finding both qualified to continue service, vote aye.
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 Aye. Okay. All right, Senator McDougal? Here.
He's on his way, sir.
All right. Senator McPike? What's your bill number?
Senate Bill 219, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, Senate Bill 219 is the major Virginia Employment Commission reform bill based on the work of the JLARC team over the last year plus. With the critical events and unemployment rates faced in 2020 through 2021, we saw unprecedented frustration and failures within VEC to respond to unemployment claims. As a member of JLARC, our bipartisan commission deployed the resources of our independent arm of the legislature to make findings and recommendations. The 200-page report highlighted many of the need to fix to ensure that delays to Virginians never happen again. The JLARC staff provided the commission with ongoing updates as the study began and throughout last year. The findings concluded that the long-term ebb and flow of funding based on unemployment from the federal government, as well as other conditions under both Republican and Democratic administrations, missed the key elements to prepare for a baseline of resources and staffing necessary for the sustained, viable organization response needed to face the challenges of the last 2 years. Additionally, the reinvestment of information technology infrastructure fell behind what was needed to be nimble in the upswing of the volume of faces requested, of the volume of requests for help that were needed. I'm sure your office received the number and volume of unemployment assistance requests of the last year, similar to mine. In fact, I dedicated one staff member to solely deal with those issues. And I'm sure many of you did as well. I know this is something that no one wants to repeat. Good governance reaffirms our bipartisan commitment to our constituents to fix a system that too often fell silent at their most dire hour of need. So where do we go from here? A total of 40 recommendations and 10 policy topics have been provided in the report and findings from JLARC. Many of the elements you will see in 10 budget amendments that I've submitted to address many other aspects of the JLARC recommendations that are not found within Senate Bill 219. Here are the key findings and recommendations that you do see within the bill. One of which is the creation of an oversight subcommittee of the Commission on Unemployment Compensation to directly follow and address the recommendations of the JLARC report as a follow-up and quarterly report requirement within the bill. It also directs the Department of Human Resource Management to lead a work group of agency leaders and human resources staff to examine the feasibility of and policies and procedures necessary for granting agency exemptions from competitive work hiring requirements and requiring staff from select state agencies to temporarily work at other state agencies in need of staffing and assistance during emergencies. It requires VEC to develop and maintain an unemployment insurance resiliency plan that describes how the agency would change its programs, staffing, and communications during periods of high unemployment to ensure efficient and effective administration of UI programs. and it requires employers to provide information related to UI claims such as employer separation reports to VCE electronically and to make unemployment insurance tax payments electronically. Many of the aspects of the report you'll find, we had over the last year and a half, paper coming in versus electronic, delays in basic processing, and other identified areas where JLARC found potential efficiencies. This bill seeks out to address those. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank Director Hal Greer and the staff of JLARC for putting in the time and expertise necessarily to address the issues that many of our constituents faced, as they are here to provide additional insights and can answer any questions as needed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Did you put in a budget amendment for this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there are approximately 10 budget amendments related to this effort.
Okay. Well, first off, are there any questions by the committee? Senator Evan.
Yeah, first I want to thank the senator for putting it in. My office has gotten hundreds of complaints from claimants and worked with VEC to try and resolve many of them. But I did have one question about one provision. It says the bill provides that a claim for unemployment benefits that's been determined invalid by the VEC as a result of the claimant's monetary ineligibility is not eligible for appeal to the Commission's Appeals Division. And I wanted to ask if they're eligible for appeal now, and if they are eligible for appeal now, like what that change means in practical terms. Who would not be able to appeal?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's actually something that we're working on. We anticipate this bill to go to be referred to finance, but we've committed to work. We've talked to some of the VE staff, and JLARC are working on making sure, number one, we have federal conformity to that specific issue. Right now, really the workflow, what we're trying to get to is to go through a redetermination process for monetary denial versus going straight to an appeal process. And so part of it's really about streamlining some of the process as well as how we communicate to those persons that are applying. So we think there's some technical fix on conforming to federal requirements right now. We would anticipate picking that up in an amendment in finance.
So to follow up, Mr. Chairman, someone who had initially been determined invalid would have some recourse to get that looked at again, just not necessarily going through the appeals division.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone in the first in the audience wants to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone in opposition?
Those in the Zoom room who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now. Mr. Chairman, at this time, we have no one electronically who would like to
Okay.
speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Megan Ryan with the Virginia Coalition for Open Government. We actually don't oppose the underlying issue on this bill, but I did want to bring the committee's attention to three small but I think important points. First is the advisory committee that's created on lines 293 to 299. So this is a group of stakeholders and experts, and it's amorphous. It's not defined by their membership, yet this would be a public body, and that public body would be subject to FOIA's meetings rules, which I think would be very difficult for a group that is shifting like this. So I would suggest VCOG recommends rewording this section to give the commission the authority to solicit input from these same groups without creating a separate public body. Second, we understand that the ombudsman needs confidentiality when helping individuals who come before it, but we also believe that an ombudsman itself needs accountability. And so we recommend that something is added to require the ombudsman to publish findings of facts, outcomes, or summaries. And we feel that this can be done without compromising any individual privacy. And finally, we believe that the FOIA exemption on lines 261 to 263 is actually unnecessary because the statute already makes those records confidential, and once they're confidential, you don't need a FOIA exemption. So thank you for taking those into account.
Senator McPike, what you can do is, if we do pass it out of committee to finance, you can work with Mr. Stevens if these are amendments that are agreeable to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. You've heard, is it, anyone else desire to speak on the bill? Okay.
Those in the Zoom room who would like to speak in oppose of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now.
Couldn't hear. Can you speak louder?
Yes, sorry, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we have no one in the Zoom room that would like to speak.
No one. Okay, I need a motion, and it would have to go to finance from here.
We refer to finance.
Senator Evans, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Senator McPike just to clarify the witness proposed three potential amendments. I'm interested in at least one of them. Are those amendments that you're okay with, those concepts?
Mr. Chairman, I'd respond to the senator. I'm certainly willing. Obviously, there seems to be some cleanup in terms of clarification of FOIA, and if there's a way to certainly protect individual confidentiality issues while still providing some summary level data, I think that would be a friendly amendment to the bill to be able to address some of those concerns.
And to follow up, what about the one about requiring the ombudsman to publish findings of fact and summaries of work? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I think as long as, again, it protects the individual level data, I don't think that would be a harmful amendment to the bill.
Thank you.
Okay. Need a motion, and if it's supported, it has to go to finance.
Move to report and refer to finance.
All right, is there a second?
Again.
All right, all those in favor of reporting the bill and then have it referred to finance or referred to finance, vote aye. Those opposed, vote no.
Ayes 14, no 0, 1 abstention.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Senator McPike.
Work it out.
All right. Is Senator McDougal here? All right. What's your bill number, Senator McDougal?
It is 383. Good question.
383?
Yes.
Okay, it's an insurance bill. Everybody pay attention. Senate Bill 383.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is probably one of the most intricate things that you'll deal with the entire session. Right now, the State Corporation Commission Bureau of Insurance is required every 3 years to hold a formal hearing. No one has attended or raised an objection since 2009. This just gives them the ability not to hold that formal hearing unless there is a complaint or an individual files requesting the hearing.
Has this been an annual hearing?
It's, Mr. Chairman, it's every 3 years, triennial. And so nobody has been there since before Reagan was born.
So, unless it's requested, then they would not have it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any questions of Senator McDougal by members of the committee? All right, anyone in the audience have an opinion on the bill?
Those in the Zoom room who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now. Mr. Chairman, we have no speakers at this time.
You have what?
No speakers.
No speakers, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
All right.
quick question
All
for
right,
patron.
Senator Serville.
The way I'm reading this, Senator McDougal, is this only applies to hearings about credit life and credit accident and sickness insurance? That's the only types of insurance we're talking about here, right?
Mr. Chairman, yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, thanks.
All right, there's a motion. I need a second to report. There's a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 383. All those in favor of reporting 383, vote aye. Those opposed, vote no.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Senator McDougal, your bill's reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Might be my only one this year, so I'm very thankful.
Come on, have faith.
Only one you get.
All right, Senator Hashmi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I have 4 bills in front of the committee, and if I may, with SB 160, though the folks that I've been working with recognize how vital and critical it is that we ensure that folks in the public sector have the opportunity to engage in collective bargaining. They have asked to strike the bill this
That's,
session.
wait, that's, because you sent me a note on 264.
I'm sorry, 264. I apologize.
So,
264.
All right, without objection, the bill is struck. You got the vote? All right, there's a motion to strike the bill. Is there a second? All right, all those in favor of striking Senate Bill 264, say aye. Aye. All right. All right, the bill is struck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and my apologies for the mix-up with SB
problem.
160. We are requesting that if we could just pass it by for the week. We are in discussions with many groups, and we're hoping to reach reconciliation on that particular bill.
Okay, that's 160.
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on here.
So move.
All right. That's the efficiency, electric utility efficiency bill.
Yes, Mr.
All right,
Chair.
and that's by for the week, okay.
And then I have SB 242 and SB 244, and they're very similar to Senator Evans.
271, SB 271. So we were going to seek a motion. Senator Hashmi had graciously agreed to roll them into my bill, which is broader on the same topics, which is SB 271. Dealing with organ donation. Her two bills are, I would move that they be rolled into SB 271, which is identical in the two topic areas that she covers.
Second.
Okay, so you're folding, the motion is to fold Senate Bill 242, roll 242 and 244 into Senator Evans 271.
With
Is that your energy bill?
No, this is dealing with organ donation, and this is for her to be the co-chief patron.
Right.
Yeah.
now,
Organ donation is the topic.
What is?
Organ donation?
Organ donation, okay. All right, the motion is to roll 244 and 271, excuse me, 244, 242
Doesn't need a substitute.
into 271.
He'll
All
prepare
those
a
in favor
substitute
say
for
aye. Aye. Opposed? Or is that a recorded vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to vote aye.
Get at least one of them. You agree?
Do you want to present yours?
You want to go first?
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Whichever you prefer.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Against organ donation?
What this legislation is about, members of the committee, is organ donation, prohibiting discrimination by insurers against living organ donors, and providing for unpaid leave, not paid leave. This would require that employers and employees are entitled to up to 60 business days of unpaid organ donation leave in a period of a year if a business has more than 15 employees. The bill requires the employer to continue to provide coverage for the employee under any health benefit plan and to pay the employee any commission earned prior to the leave. Currently, Virginia does not provide anti-insurance discrimination for life, disability, or long-term care insurance or job-protected leave from private employers. An NIH study demonstrated that people who donate organs experience discrimination by insurance companies solely on the basis of as an organ donor, not on any actuarially sound reasoning. The unnecessary stress and burden posed by insurance problems can disincentivize those considering much-needed live kidney donation, which is a better process than kidneys donated by those who are recently deceased. More than 108,000 people are on waiting lists for life-saving transplants. 1 out of 5 transplants is a living donor transplant. And studies demonstrate that people who donate a kidney are just as likely to live as long as similarly situated healthy people who have both kidneys. Studies show that transplants are more cost-effective for both patients and hospitals than long-term dialysis. 20 states have passed provisions of the Living Donor Protection Act that this bill encompasses in some form, including Maryland and Kentucky. 20 states have anti-insurance discrimination for life, disability, or long-term care insurance, and 12 states have job-protected leave from private employers. And again, this is unpaid leave. only for companies with 15 employees or more. And I know there's some witnesses who are here to testify, perhaps.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator Norman has a question.
Thank you for that presentation. My question to you is pretty fundamental and probably based on experience. You know, if we in fact support this bill for unpaid organ donation, whether it's 60 days or 30 days, do I have your unequivocal assurance that you're not coming back and trying to convert it into paid leave?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is for unpaid leave. You have my assurance that the goal is unpaid leave.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I know what it is. I'm asking, do I
You have
have your collective assurance?
You have our collectively our unequivocal and absolute assurance that we're not going to try and convert it to anything beyond unpaid leave.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Overshain.
Mr. Chairman, question for the patrons. Does this apply just to businesses or does it apply to government as well?
Let me see.
It's for both private and.
I couldn't hear
It
you.
is for both public and private, so all state agencies are included.
Mr. Chairman, further question.
Senator Overshain.
Does it apply to local governments as well?
Don't think local.
We're going to ask counsel.
It includes the Commonwealth, its agencies, institutions, and political subdivisions.
That's a yes.
Localities.
Yes.
Somebody wants to go.
And school boards?
Yeah, includes the Commonwealth, its instrumentalities, which includes school boards.
Well, okay. Are there any other questions? And by the way, the Finance Committee has requested this. Are there any other, anyone else on the committee have a question of the two patrons? All right. Anyone in the audience here in support of the bill has a desire to speak? Good. Anybody in opposition? Even better. All right, is there anyone online?
Those in the Zoom room who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now. Mr. Chairman, we have a couple speakers.
You have what?
A couple speakers.
Okay, they each have 1 minute. Can you identify yourselves? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Manish Agarwal, and I would like to speak in support of this bill.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
Kat Velnoff, please speak.
My name is Kat Velkoff. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Kat Velkoff, and I have lived in Virginia my whole life. Last year, I donated a kidney to a stranger who is also a Virginia resident. He went on dialysis at age 20, went on the transplant waitlist in 22, and didn't get a transplant until he was 24. Today, he is training to run a marathon. I'm in favor of Senate Bill 271 because living donors save lives, they save insurance companies money on the cost of dialysis, and we deserve protection from insurance discrimination. When I was doing my testing, my social worker told me that I should buy life insurance because having one kidney is still considered a pre-existing condition. She asked me if I was going to buy life insurance. At 31 years old, I told her I didn't need life insurance. I needed to change the law. Because of the extensive testing done on living donors prior to the surgery, living donors actually have a longer life expectancy than the average population and do not pose a financial risk to life insurance companies. Living donors save insurance companies money because one transplant surgery is cheaper than years of dialysis. Okay. Kidneys from deceased donors last an average of 7 to 14 years, but kidneys from living donors last 14 to 21 years on average. Last year, 125 Virginians died waiting on an organ transplant that never came. Okay. Currently, 2,400 Virginians are still waiting on an organ transplant. 91% of them are waiting for a kidney or liver that can be received from a living donor. I urge you to pass Senate Bill 271 to help protect living donors and, more importantly, remove barriers that keep people in need from receiving an organ that can change or save their lives.
All right,
Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair. I move to report and refer to finance.
We got one more speaker. Guy Rolling?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, my name is Guy Rolling. I represent Fresenius Medical Care, which is probably one of the largest providers of dialysis services in the Commonwealth, and we support Senate Bill 271.
Okay, thank you, Guy. All right, motion to report and refer
Excuse
to
me,
finance.
excuse me,
Mr. Chairman, can I just note?
Yes, go ahead, Senator Evans.
One thing, I was asked if there was, I represented that the bills were identical. Senator Hashmi's bill had a delayed enactment date for the insurance companies, which I would move that we include that part of it in the final product to January 1st, 2023, so it wouldn't
Okay.
start on July 1st for the insurance component.
So it would start January
1st, 2023.
2023.
Yeah, giving the insurance
Okay, all
companies
right,
some time.
I'll withdraw my motion, Mr. Chair. We're going to talk about this bill a little more.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Is there a motion now to report and refer to finance?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, second? All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor of reporting and referring to Senate Finance and Appropriations, vote aye.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right, the bill's on its way. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you,
Ashby.
Madam Chair. Oh.
Senator Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Senator Stewart and then Senator Peake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 359.
359.
And Mr. Chairman, members, this is a request to the State Corporation Commission's Bureau of Insurance. What it does is it changes the reporting process for pharmacy benefit managers, whereas right now they report quarterly and they want to change it to annually, which would start in 2023. So they'll continue to report quarterly up until 2023, where it would just be annually. They have used this information up to this point. You all know this is a newer legislation, and they just don't need it done quarterly. So that's the bill.
Okay.
And there's no opposition from what I understand.
There's what?
No opposition.
Okay. All right, are there any questions of Senator Stewart? All right, anybody got an opinion in the audience? All right.
Those in the Zoom room who would like to speak on the bill and support, please raise your hand electronically now.
You have one?
Mr. Chairman, we have no one on
No
the
one.
Zoom.
Okay. All right, there's a motion and a second to report, and this one does not have to go to finance. All those in favor, vote aye. Opposed, vote nay.
Going to make me explain it on the floor.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
You know what? I think we ought to offer a
Where's
penalty
that?
box for those that make us explain things on the floor unnecessarily.
You won't get any argument from me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all the members except for Senator Obenshain.
All right. Senator Peake, you're up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Senate Bill 173, and this is regarding the minimum wage. And I know we debated this thoroughly last session, but I bring this bill because we've seen what's happened over the past year. We've now had time to look at what's going on with the minimum wage and what's going on in the Commonwealth in general. And this bill would freeze the minimum wage increase at $11. And I'm bringing this on behalf of a lot of small businesses. I know really in Lynchburg where I represent, and in Roanoke and the rest of I see the folks who are up here, the areas y'all represent, nobody's paying, except for Senator Deeds, nobody's paying $11 anymore. I see signs up paying $15 to deliver pizza. So it's really irrelevant in the areas where they have some population, but rural areas, and you'll note that Senator Hackworth is on this as well. The rural areas It is a real problem. They don't have the volume of business. They can't just raise their rates. They're poor economies. And the $11 an hour isn't going to lead to people making more money. It's going to lead to more small businesses closing and shutting down. And so this bill would freeze it at $11. It's not going to affect any of the areas that you guys represent, except for some of the folks who represent some very, very rural and poor areas. And so I'd ask that y'all pass that.
Mr. Chairman. Surville.
Senator Surville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for the patron. So, if I'm not mistaken, lines 26 through 31, actually, I believe 26 through 43 of your bill, subsections E, F, G, and H, right? E, F, and H, I think, actually, or don't become law unless they're reenacted before the 2023 session, or before July 1 of 2023. Is that right?
Is that, I was not aware they had to become reenacted. My understanding is they go into effect on those dates.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, for the question.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, excuse me, yes.
Thank you. Well, as the person that negotiated this in the conference committee, I can assure you that was the case. But I'm sure pretty much the only effect of this bill is it gets rid of the increase effective January 1 of 2023, which is the $12 an hour. Maybe council could answer that. Is that right, in terms of the practical effect of this actual bill?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Sherwood, I believe also the clause on the bill from 2 years ago that the provisions of subsection E and F as amended shall not become effective unless reenacted by a regular or special session of the General Assembly prior to July 1, 2024. If the General Assembly does not reenact, then the provisions of subsection H would take effect on October 1st, 2024 and Jan 1, 2025.
Got it. Thank you. I just wanted to be clear we were voting on.
Yep.
I think that clears up. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman. Yes, thank you, Senator Service.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Marston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Peake, I've been introducing minimum wage legislation since I first came, shortly after I first came to the Senate in 2010. And one of the things I was always attempting to do was to get it back to that magic year of 1968, which was the last time that it's generally held by a number of people who study these things that the minimum wage kind of did what it was supposed to do. And if that were to be equated to today's dollars, that would be $12 and I'm not really sure how many cents, but it seems to me that one of the original goals I had has been met by the bill as it exists right now. The law as it exists right now is to get back at least to 1968, and when the minimum wage did what it was supposed to do, and freezing it at $11 falls short of that goal for me, and for that reason, I can't support this bill.
Senator Peake, I'll just say this: it was my bill that put the minimum wage where it is now, and then I think it has to go above 12. It had to be voted on by after the 2023 election. But minimum wage in 1971 kept up with the cost of living now, it would be a little over $15 an hour. So anyway, all right, are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Norman.
I just have a comment. I have enormous respect for Senator Marston. It's hard for me to believe he's been on the wrong side of this issue for so many years. But hopefully he's having an epiphany. I think that the employees' perspective on our economy has changed fairly remarkably in the last 2 years, and that as a result of the convergence of a number of factors that they find themselves in a position where they are empowered more than they have ever been. And as a result of what has taken place in conversations I've had with a number of you on this committee, the market conditions are dictating that employers pay more, and even where some are offering substantially more, they cannot hire people. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to support this because I think the market conditions, frankly, are driving it even beyond the hallucinations of Senator Marston.
Mr. Chairman, Servo. Servo.
Senator Servo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I would just note that I think, I just heard, I think I read a couple weeks ago or last week that inflation in America was at 7%, which if you consider that based on $11 an hour, that means 77 cents of the next $1 just got eaten by inflation, which means this bill is actually about a 33 cent per hour wage increase. And even after you pay taxes on it, it's probably even less than that, probably more like 20 cents, which is about $500 a year to the average worker. So the next step is really not that big of a deal. It's not really a big deal burden for business. And especially in light of inflation, I think it's even more necessary that we make sure that $1 an hour go through. I would hope we would PBI this bill at the appropriate time.
All right, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would respond to Senator Norman with if the amount of money people are paying has far exceeded $11, and this bill does no harm at all. It's just nobody's, people's wages have exceeded that. So this is just a way to keep us on track with the bill we passed 2 years ago, towards a $15 minimum wage. And we're going to take that time out to study, I think, regionalization of the minimum wage and to see where we are. And I think we ought to stick to that time frame. Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions of the patron? All right, anyone in the audience have an opinion? All right.
Those in the Zoom who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand now. Mr. Chairman, we have a few speakers.
You have what?
A few speakers.
Few. All right. No more than 1 minute each. Go ahead. Alexis Rogers.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Alexis Rogers. I'm with Care in Action. On behalf of the domestic workers who we represent, we urge you to oppose this bill and protect our progress on putting Virginia workers on the path to a decent and living wage. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next. Next.
Marcia Teterin, it is your time to speak.
Thank you. Marcy Tedderton with the Virginia Association for Home Care and Hospice. We support the bill. Medicaid personal care rates have not kept up with the state mandated minimum wage and all the other effects of a booming economy.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Lisa Stalib, it is your time to speak. At this time, anyone opposed to the bill, please raise your hand electronically now.
Lisa Stiver, Virginia Education Association, and we oppose this bill.
Okay. All right, the bill's before us.
Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion.
Substitute motion. Substitute motion.
Substitute motion.
Motion to pass by indefinitely.
Second.
All right, the substitute motion gets voted on first. All those in favor of passing the bill by indefinitely, vote aye. Those opposed, nay.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
All right. Thank you, Senator Pete. All right. Okay. All right, Senate Bill 194, Senator Mason. All right.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The State Corporation Commission asked me to bring this. For those of you who don't sleep at night, you may remember a couple of years ago, we talked about a scam that folks, when a derecho had gone through Richmond and people were showing up on their doorstep with an iPad saying, hey, we can help you from A to Z right here. Just, let's get this going. And at the time, they had a public adjuster somewhere in the wings that they were theoretically working under the auspices of. Well, now they flipped it. So the public adjuster takes a lead and comes in and says, hey, we can help you out with your insurance claim from A to Z. And the public adjuster's job is to come to represent the insured. And they're even in places trying to, through power of attorney, pass the contract to a contractor that does all the work Sometimes it's even been noted that they charge them more than the insurance company will pay. This is an attempt to get to one more step to fix this system and have the public adjusters, you'll see on lines 24 to 26, it defines financial interest. It then walks through all the things a public adjuster cannot do, and then closes by saying no public adjuster shall engage in any activity may be reasonably construed as a conflict of interest, including soliciting or accepting any remuneration of any kind or nature directly or indirectly, except for the contract that they have. So they flipped it on us, Mr. Chairman, since we thought we fixed it last time. This is our last pass at trying to fix it for the future until they come up with a third way, and we'll see you in a couple more years, Mr. Chairman. That's the bill.
Okay. Any questions of Senator Mason?
Mr. Chairman,
Senator
I would just say I had an old law partner who used to have this dim view of human nature. It was that we live in a society of smart rats, and it doesn't matter how you change the maze, they always find the cheese.
Probably right. All right.
No comment, Mr. Chairman, but I thank the gentleman from Rochester.
All right. Any other questions by members of the committee of Senator Mason on Senate Bill 194? Hold on, let me just check. Anybody online?
Anyone in the Zoom who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now. Mr. Chairman, there are no hands.
Okay. Senator Norman? There's a motion to report. Is there a second? All right, motion and second to report Senate Bill 194. All those in favor, vote aye.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we got Senator Deeds.
I've got Senate Bill 303.
Mortgage brokers.
Senate Bill 303 is an attempt to clean up something we tried to clean up a couple of years ago, and I think we have peace in the valley now. This provides that a person or entity can act as a mortgage broker and a real estate broker or salesperson in the same real estate transaction, provided they disclose the dual activity to the borrower in writing when they first offer mortgage broker service. Several other affiliations are already permitted in real estate transactions, such as realtors and mortgage lenders, home builders and lenders or brokers. This was technically permitted in Virginia, but only if you had this dual capacity prior to 1989. Real estate and mortgage regulations changed a lot since then, rendering this prohibition unnecessary. And the other 49 states, it's my understanding, allow this affiliation or dual activity. Legislation has been vetted by the Bureau of Financial Institutions. My understanding is Joe Face and Susan Hancock are online to answer questions. It's also been gone over by the realtors, the mortgage lenders, and I think there's peace in the valley.
Okay. Any questions by the committee members?
Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Norman.
Do they have to be paid at least $11 an hour?
That's a good question.
Where the hell do you live on 22?
I think most of those situations are, they're on commission.
All right. Anybody in the audience have an opinion?
Mr. Chairman, Serville.
Senator Serville.
Senator Deeds, it's my understanding this bill sort of died a quiet death last year based on some question I asked, which I think you've now answered as based on some conversations I had. Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember. I know there were a lot of questions raised last year. Last year, I think the last time I carried this bill, the language came from the Bureau of Financial Institutions, and all of the parties who are the lenders, the realtors, they'd all not all been consulted on that language. What we did this year a little bit differently, whether it was last year or year before last, what we did a little bit differently is we brought everybody into the tent, and there were amendments made. There were lots of viewpoints considered.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Serville. Okay. All right, is there anyone online?
Those in the Zoom who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now.
All right,
There are no hands.
there are none. All
Right.
right, need a motion.
For those opposed, please raise your hand now in the Zoom.
Move the report, Mr. Chairman.
There are no hands.
All right, there's a motion to report and a second of Senate Bill 303. All those in favor of reporting the bill, vote aye. Those opposed, nay.
I think you ought to have to explain that.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right, ayes 15, noes 0. All right. Senator Bell, now I know you have 329 going by for the day. You have 326. Senator Bell? Do you want that to go by for the day?
I'm sorry, which one, 326?
326.
I'm going to present that one.
Pardon?
I'll present it.
Okay. And then Senator Barker, you're on deck. And then Senator Marston. And we're done.
Mr. Chairman, Senate Bill 326, fairly easy bill. If you look at it on line 16, it just deletes that line, which makes shares subordinate to all our obligations of the credit union. As you know, credit unions are owned by the credit union members who are shareholders, and it just deletes that. This is, we really consider this a technical correction, and to my understanding, talk with all the stakeholders, there's no opposition to this change at all. So with that, I'm happy to answer your questions, but it's pretty simple. This was just basically a correction to put the members on equal footing as owners of that
Okay.
institution. Thank you.
All right, any questions of Senator Bell on Senate Bill 326? All right, anyone in the audience in support? Anyone in opposition? Is there anyone online?
Those in the Zoom who would like to speak in support of the bill,
okay.
please raise your hand electronically now. And those in the Zoom who would like to speak in opposition of the bill, please raise your hand electronically now. There is no one in the Zoom
Okay,
room, Mr.
thank you.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Carrie Hunt. I'm the president and CEO of the Virginia Credit Union League. I've been in my role now for only 6 months, but I've been involved with credit unions for over 20 years. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity today to address the committee, and I look forward to working with all of you in the months and years to come. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. It's nice to have you here. All right, there's a motion. Got to get a second? To report Senate Bill 326. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right. All right, Senator, before Senator Barker going up there, but before we've got to refer Senate Bill 446, that Senator Boyce goes to local government.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor, does that require a recorded vote? Yes, okay. All those in favor of referring Senate Bill 446 to local government, vote aye.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right, thank you. All right, Senator Barker, you're up.
All right, I have Senate Bill 337. This is a bill to make current the minimum standards requirements for accident and sickness insurance. It was requested by the State Corporation Commission's Bureau of Insurance, and it just updates the standards, some of which are related to consistency with the Affordable Care Act. The Bureau of Insurance has shared this with interested parties, and there's been no opposition or concern about this bill. With that, I would be
Okay.
happy to take any questions I can. So,
Are there any questions of Senator Barker? All right. Anyone in the audience have an opinion? Okay. Anyone online?
Those in the Zoom who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand now. There are no hands in support. Those in the Zoom who would like to speak in opposition of the bill, please raise your hand now. Mr. Chair, there are no voices, excuse me, there are no
Okay,
people wishing
all
to
right,
speak.
Bills before us.
I'm sorry,
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick,
motion.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question really quick.
Senator Serville.
Senator Parker, I'm just trying to understand the text, looking at it. I mean, it looks to me like it strikes out all the minimum standards in the code. Are we just changing how the minimum standards are going to be promulgated? Is it going to be
Yeah,
not in
and
the code anymore?
a lot
It's
of that
gonna
will be done through regulation, so that's part of what we're dealing with here, so.
Okay,
Makes it a little easier to make adjustments that way.
got it. Okay, thank you.
All right?
All right, we need a motion.
Move report.
All right, motion and a second to report. All those in favor of reporting Senate Bill 337, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Nay. All right,
Ayes 15, no zero.
bills reported. All right, looks like we're down to the last one. And let me just, before we start, Senator Morrison, you going up there. Senate Bills 311, 321, 120, 267, 304, 329, all requested to go by for the, pass by for the day. Which is why.
Is 285 for the day as well?
Pardon?
280 as well?
Yes, I'm sorry, 280 and 160 also. Okay. All right, Senator Morrison, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Senate Bill 42. I have a substitute. I'd like to move the substitute.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt a substitute?
So moved.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting the substitute, vote aye, or say aye. Aye. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From the original bill, the substitute basically was submitted by the SEC to keep it in line, keep this whole section in line with federal law. And, Mr. Chairman, in the infinite wisdom of the Virginia legislature, we put into code a wellness program for health carriers in Virginia, private employers, for instance, who are paying part of their employees' health insurance. And, you know, what this does is a health carrier offering a health benefit plan providing group health insurance coverage may provide at the employer's discretion for a wellness program if such program is made available to all similarly situated individuals. A wellness program may include, and it lists 5 things, and I've added a 6th here, which is a program that provides a reward to encourage individuals to receive a vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19. As you can imagine, even in a reasonably small business, what could happen if a number of employees became ill, perhaps due to an unvaccinated employee? In the future, those rates would rise significantly and put a great burden on that business. And so what this allows them to do is, for instance, for a reward, is to set, hey, look, if you're not vaccinated, instead of paying $100, you're going to pay $150. But anybody who gets vaccinated, you're back to the $100 fee. It's a simple system in place to reward prudent behavior, to keep costs down in businesses. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, you would have situations where people would start dropping benefits to make their health care affordable and going with different plans. So this keeps the plan up and vibrant for employees, while at the same time encouraging vaccines. 85%, according to our health department, of the folks currently in hospitals are those who are unvaccinated, and some of them are there for months on very expensive care. And so this is really a business relief program.
Right.
And Senator Norman, you'd be glad to know that what we took away in the minimum wage bill, we're adding back to businesses here to make sure that that they keep their insurance costs low for their employees.
All right, any questions of the patron by members of the committee? Hold on one second. Anybody in the audience have an opinion? Okay.
Anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak in support of the bill, please raise your hand now.
Okay, quickly.
Mr. Chairman, Doug Gray from the Virginia Association of Health Plans. We've reviewed the bill. It reflects a common practice in the self-insured market today.
Right.
So it's not plowing new ground. This just applies it to fully insured.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
Clark Barner with the Medical Society of Virginia, and we support the bill.
good. Okay. All right,
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Serville.
sorry I keep stopping the train here, but Senator Marsden, why limit it to COVID? Why not say any vaccine, like the flu vaccine, or, I just got shingles last week, the shingles vaccine. I mean.
Well,
You got that for free at CVS or something.
Well, there are many vaccines that would apply to this.
senator from Eastern Fairfax. But what I would say is that, as the bill said, it puts it out, it's not prescriptive, it says shall include. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't include other things. What we're trying to do here is to make it very clear to businesses that COVID is the real issue of the day. And in the words of Brother Kilgore from the other body, get your own bill.
All right, I need a motion.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. We have one person wishing to speak in support of the bill on the Zoom.
All right.
Lisa, please begin your testimony.
Lisa Stye with Virginia Education Association, and we're in support.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Newman.
I have no idea what this has to do with education, but I am, honestly, what Senator Serbell said is exactly right of my concern, right? And kind of going forward, if they can do that, they can also do the shingles vaccine and otherwise. And I'm just concerned about going down a path where we're going to actually undo what I see as kind of part of the pre-existing conditions. I mean, you're actually going to be charging more depending on what you do. That is what we thought we got away from in the Affordable Care Act. So for that reason, I can't support it here. We may talk more before we get to the floor.
Thank you.
All right, you need a motion.
Move to report.
All right, there's a motion is there a second?
Second.
And a second to report Senate Bill 42. All those in favor of reporting Senate Bill 42, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Vote no.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Ayes 12, nays 3. The bill is reported.
Thank you,
right.
Mr. Chairman.
I think that completes it. I can't. What? Oh, yeah, by the way, leave the questionnaires for the judges on the desk. They're confidential and the staff will pick them up. Okay, so leave those out on your desk. All right, if there's no other business to come before the committee will rise.